So I got all the way to the end of recording this video, and then I realized I had never recorded a beginning to this video. So I should probably do that now. I don't really have anything for the beginning of this video, but if I talk long enough, it'll make it seem like I have something for the beginning of the video, and then I'll have enough for the beginning of the video. Does that make sense? Roll the thing. Alright, it is day 3 of VidCon 2019. Today is the day that I have my creator chat, and I'm still not going to tell you who it's with until we actually get to it. But first off is the Gathering of the Nerd Fighters. That is, of course, the annual panel thing with John and Hank Green, who are the founders of VidCon. And yeah, so let's go to it. So actually, I ended up getting there a little bit early. So I ended up stopping by the Fine Brothers Entertainment booth, and they had a React setup where you could pretend like you were on the React set. They had it set up for Teens React, the Teens React wall, because that makes the most sense for the vast majority of people that are at VidCon. So you could get your picture taken in front of it, pretending like you were on Teens React, which that's a pretty substantial pretending for me, obviously. So here's a picture of me reacting disgusted, and here's a picture of me reacting surprised. Yeah, so those'll go on my demo reel if they're ever like, we need new reactors. I'll go ahead and throw those on there, and then they'll be like, oh, well, we should have just hired this guy right there when we had the chance. Yeah. Anyway, after that, I ended up going over to the stage area where the Gathering of the Nerd Fighters was going to happen. Now, the Gathering of the Nerd Fighters is the annual tradition at VidCon. It's essentially the one panel that Hank Green and John Green have together. Hank Green and John Green, of course, being the founders of VidCon, the ones who started it all, the ones who had the crazy idea 10 years ago of there should be a convention where YouTubers get together and they can talk to each other and they can meet their fans. And 10 years ago, it was like, that's weird. That'll never become something popular. And they did it in a hotel ballroom or a hotel basement, I think, in LA, and there was like 1,500 people, I think, was the estimated total of number of people there. And then yeah, this year there was probably 100,000, so that escalated quickly. But anyway, they always have their annual panel where they talk about things that are going on with the company that they have started, with all the companies that they have started, all the things that they have coming up for the year. All, like 2 years ago, John Green announced his newest book, Turtles All the Way Down, which has come out since then. And this year they talked about one of the main charity that they have been raising money for. The charity that pretty much all the money that they make from doing YouTube and stuff goes to is a charity. I believe it's Partners in Health is the name of it, and it is essentially trying to make the maternity rates in Sierra Leone go up, because in Sierra Leone 1 in every 7 pregnant women die. That's just how it is, and they die from preventable reasons. So that is their goal, is to make that maybe a little bit higher than 1 in 7, because that's kind of a ridiculous number in 2019. So they talked about that, and then they did stupid, silly stuff, which they did comment on the fact of this is ridiculous that we had this super, like, kind of depressing here's this thing that happens in this country that we're trying to fix, and then we're doing this really stupid stuff right afterwards. That's yeah. So they did like all the other panels where they had questions via Twitter, and then at one point someone asked how high they could jump, because someone had asked that the day before at the Jacksepticeye panel, how high can you jump, and he did it. And so then it kind of became a thing after that, where people would always ask that at panels. And John jumped up on one of the chairs, and everyone was freaked out because they didn't seem very stable. And I mean, he's in his 40s, so everyone was worried. They weren't worried about him necessarily as much as they were the chair surviving. And then they have a rule on their channel, the Vlogbrothers channel, that no video can go over 4 minutes. And if it does, if you upload a video on there that goes over 4 minutes, then you have to take some sort of punishment of some kind. And so Hank, he has his own channel called Hank's Channel, which, well, actually, John posts to Hank's channel as well, but it's kind of their other channel that they have where they don't have to follow the rule of the Vlogbrothers channel. But he accidentally posted one of the videos from Hank's channel onto the Vlogbrothers channel, so he had to take a punishment for doing that. So in contrast, again, with the opening of the panel and the depression and third world countryness and charity work of the opening of the, he had this idea that he would pull a few volunteers from the audience, and they spent the entire panel over in the corner right in front of the stage milking gushers. So that was the most American thing you could possibly think of. If you don't know what gushers are, they're little gummy candies that you buy in the fruit snacks aisle, and inside of them there's like a juice. So when you bite into it, it gushes the juice out. And so his idea was to milk as many of those as you could, essentially just crack them open and put the juice into a cup, and then you would drink just straight gushers juice. And so they, like, between all of them, they must have gone through 300 gushers, and they got like that much liquid out of them. And his Vlogbrothers video for that week was kind of a, because John was filming him the whole time, it was all about that. I'll link to that down in the doobly-doo. You can go watch that video if you want to, or I'll put a card up here. You can both doobly-doo and card. You can check those out. So that's always one of my favorite panels to go to, because it's kind of the most important panel to go to every year, because it's the thing wouldn't exist without the two of them. So you gotta go and show your respects to them. Next up, it was time finally for my creator chat. Now, let me explain exactly how the creator chat works. So there was a lottery system. They sent out a list of people that you could have a creator chat with, and you would rank the order in which you would prefer to have. Well, you wouldn't rank the order. It was like, so they had all the names. There was like 30, I think. There was a lot of names. And then next to each one there were 5 things, and like it was like, this would be great, this would be fantastic, this would be the best thing ever. You know, it was kind of like that. And then judging on how you voted and who you picked, you would then get entered into the lottery. I don't know exactly how the inner workings worked, but I ended up getting the only person I really wanted to get on there. And so the way it works is essentially, depending on how many people chose that person or whatever, there would be, I don't know how many people ended up actually being in each group. I'm sure that was determined by how many people chose that person and what have you. I know last year when I did it with Jack Conti, who is the CEO and founder of Patreon, there was, I think, 12 people in the room, and that wasn't including him and his wife when they came in, but I think there was 12 people. And another thing about it is that the creator, the featured creator, had to come in through the back. Like, you would go into the room and then they would come in the back because of security reasons. So anyway, long story longer, I guess, I was getting there early. I got there early, and the chat, before the chat I was going to be a part of was wrapping up, and the featured creator was talking to the people afterwards a little bit, and then one of them, I guess, said, "Can you just come out and say hi to my friend a little bit and maybe shoot a quick interview?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure, absolutely." And so he came out into the main hall there, and he did an interview video with the guy's friend, and then when he was done, he walked back towards the room because he had to go through the back. He couldn't go out on the floor because security. And so as he was coming back, I was standing there, and so I said hi to him really quickly and congratulated him because that was Mark Rober. Now, Mark Rober. Who is Mark Rober? Well, that's difficult to explain. Mark Rober used to work at NASA. He was a NASA engineer, and he quit doing that so he could make YouTube videos. Some would say that's insane, but he probably makes more doing YouTube videos than he did as a NASA engineer. Now, describing exactly what his channel is a little difficult. He essentially uses his engineering prowess to make crazy things. The video he made that first went viral was about 2 years ago, and I know because I was at VidCon 2 years ago, and there were two guys sitting next to me at a panel, and afterwards they stood up and they were talking to each other, and then they were talking to a guy behind, and then the one guy was like, "Oh, did you see that his video went viral this week?" And I was like, "Oh, hey, that's that guy." They weren't talking to me. I was just standing there kind of listening to as I was picking up my stuff. And I'm like, "Oh, that's that guy that did the thing." The thing that he did was he made a giant Nerf gun that the scale of it, when I say giant, is like, so a regular Nerf dart with a suction cup is like this big, say. So imagine if that suction cup was a full-size plunger, and then the dart, so like this big, I guess, if I can get it in the screen, whatever. Imagine a plunger, and then that's the dart. So scale the gun up to that. Here's a picture of it. There, it's a big Nerf gun. So that went viral. So I just noticed that when I started recording this clip section that I'm currently in, I actually hit start streaming as well at the same time. So I was actually just streaming to Twitch as I was ranting and raving for about 7 minutes. Let's go ahead and delete that video off of the Twitch archive. So the video that Mark Rober made earlier this year that went super viral was where he made a package theft glitter bomb, I believe would be how you would describe it. Essentially, where he lives, he gets a lot of Amazon packages stolen from his porch, because that's a thing that happens a lot these days because people are horrible. You get Amazon packages delivered to your house, they get left on your porch, and people will drive around and look for them and steal them directly from your porch. So he decided to get back at them by making a fake package that when you open it up, it distributes just a ton of glitter all over the area. It just sprays glitter everywhere. And then it also sprays some fart spray just for shiggles, if you will. I don't know, there's a term that shiggles would, if you split it up and at shiggles, you get it. And then also he had 4 phones in there so that he could get the reaction, because they were recording. Well, they would start recording when the package is open, and so he could get their reaction, and then also track down where it was once they dumped it, because, yeah, they eventually would get rid of it. So I'll link to that video down in the doobly. That's a good one to link to down in the doobly-doo, and the card. Doobly-doo and card for that video. You should check it out. It's a really great video. Oh, and then also, about a month ago, he finally fulfilled one of his dreams, which was filling a pool with Jell-O. And there's been a lot of times where people have tried to fill pools with Jell-O, and they just fill it with Jell-O packets, and then it's essentially a liquid red pool, which That's not really filling a pool with Jell-O. He wanted it to be filled with gelatin, with actual gelatin, not just colored water. So he figured out how to literally make it so that it was gelatin. It was very complicated. It used a lot of boiling and freezing, and just because, you know, to make Jell-O you gotta boil it and then you gotta refrigerate it. So that was very difficult, and he figured it out, and it was like a lifelong dream of his to do that. So as he was walking back into the room, I was like, hey, congratulations on fulfilling your lifelong dream of the Jell-O pool. That was really cool. And then we talked a little bit, and then he went back in and went out the back of the door. So he counts as someone that I met. Okay, so finally, I've put it off long enough. It was time. So I went into the room, and 5 other people eventually came into the room, and then the creator that we were going to have the creator chat with came into the room, and that was Lindsay Ellis. Now, who is Lindsay Ellis? She's a film essayist. That's pretty much the easiest way to describe it. She makes really long, really fascinating videos about film and TV that are so well researched, so well produced, and just really amazing. I did a video a couple of years ago for International Women's Day where I talked about my favorite women YouTube creators, and she was like in the top 5, maybe even top 3. I would have to go back and watch to see where she was. I don't think I really ranked them necessarily, but I kind of ranked them a bit, because I'm pretty sure I put Grace Helbig at number 1 and probably Lindsay Sterling at number 2. And if that's the case, I probably put Lindsay Ellis at number 3. But she's definitely one of my favorite YouTubers overall, like any gender. She's probably, if not top 5, top 10 for absolutely sure. But yes, she just makes really amazing, thought-provoking videos about film and television. And she recently got a master's degree from USC in film, so that would make sense. But enough about what she does. Let's talk about the chat itself. So when we went in the room, they had these 4 long tables set up in a square pattern, and it was too much table for all of us. And so we sat at the table, and then once she came in, the security woman that was out in front just came in to make sure that it was her, and then she was like, oh, just so you know, the other groups, that what they've been doing is they've just been taking the chairs and then kind of joining in a circle in the corner. So kind of like an AA meeting circle. So that's what we ended up doing. We just took the chairs and went over and just made like an AA meeting circle. And then we just sat there and talked about making YouTube videos, essentially. So you have people that are all levels of success on YouTube, if you will. Essentially going from probably me with the lowest, I'm sure, subscription count and view count, and then just building up to maybe people with like hundreds of subscribers and maybe 1,000 subscribers, and then all the way up to Lindsay Ellis. What is she at right now? That's just, yeah, she has 742,000 subscribers. And due to Patreon subscribers, she does it for a living. So it was really great. It was a nice, candid, 1-on-6 conversation. And I got the card of the guy that was sitting next to me because he does videos on theme parks, and I like watching videos on theme parks. Obviously, I've made a few, so I do like watching those. I've been watching a lot of those lately, so I was like, oh, cool, I want to check that out. And then he gave me his wife's card, too, because I guess she does videos about art at theme parks. But yeah, I didn't record anything in there, and I didn't take any pictures in there because no one else was, so it felt kind of weird to be like, can I take a picture and record? Because no one else really seemed to be doing it. I didn't want to be the one to do that. Okay, so it is at this point that I'm realizing something that I didn't think would actually happen. And that is, I have too much stuff from day 3 for one video. So I'm actually going to have to split day 3 into 2 videos. So that's so weird. Because originally I was like, I just barely have enough probably for 2 videos, because that's how it always seems to be. So there's no way I'm going to be able to do 3 videos. And now it's reached a point where I'm going to have to make 4 videos out of VidCon. So tune in next week for the final video of VidCon 2019. This will be day 3 part 2. I know you're excited for that. So as for this video, if you liked it, go ahead and hit the like button. And if you'd like to see more of the crazy crap that goes on around here, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And if you'd like to help support the crazy crap that goes on around here, go ahead and hit up my Patreon. Link is in the description. And with that, have a good however long it is until you watch my next video.